action RPG that focus on adventures, like shooting, and the action is more visceral, more spectacle, really more focused on that action-adventure side, but still has proper RPG mechanics. So a game like Dark Souls would have made the list, but a game like Sekiro Shadows Die Twice is not going to make the list because it doesn't have those RPG mechanics. So if you want the looting and the paper dolls and, well, you know, the RPG, but with your action-adventure, here we go, guys. I'm thinking we can kind of gush about these sugary games that we've been hyping up for a while, but also I found some pretty sweet hidden gems in here, and if you haven't heard about them, hey, find something new, give me a thumbs up and let me know. But this is going to be my list for the best upcoming new adventure action RPGs. All right, guys, starting out the list, we have one that makes and breaks the rules, I'm pretty sure, I think. Well, it's an upcoming list, so I don't really know what these games have fully in store for us, but Zeal is one that I was definitely dubious about putting on. So immediately, the pre-alpha demo is coming pretty soon here, September 24th, but this is a PvP RPG. Now, that sounds kind of Soulsian, and actually the gameplay reminds me of something like a MMO Battlegrounds or some sort of third-person MOBA. You know, it definitely could have RPG mechanics, and it could have a campaign later on, and I don't really know what the full focus of this game and the full spectrum of this game and how it kind of fits, but it's self-describing itself as a PvP-focused RPG, so I want to believe it, I want to dream it. That sounds like a really beautiful idea. I loved the PvP in Dark Souls, and I really want more games like that. Of course, we have stuff like For Honor, but that's kind of more of a proper brawler and fighting game, so if Zeal can kind of up a notch, you know, kind of put it more MOBA, more actual proper RPG, more progression, paper doll customization, then I think maybe it could be really sexy. So regardless, I'm pretty sure you guys haven't heard about this game, and you know, looking for this list, this might be something that you might be into. So check it out, guys. Zeal. It's gonna be on Steam. There's a pre-alpha demo that you can jump into. PvP focused RPG with magic and stuff. Check it out. Coming in at number 9, I'm going to slap down Dauntless, which is technically already playable, already free to play. It's just in early access, so it's not all the way out yet, so it's still going to make the list for upcoming games. Now, this is a Monster Hunter clone, and it's a little bit less adventurous and more proper grindy, looty action RPG. But it's going to play like Monster Hunter with over-the-shoulder, you know, the same combos. Some of the weapons are almost identical. It's going to have that same gameplay loop. You and 3 other players, or you can just jump down alone. You jump down, there's a bland little island area. You just jump down and there's just the boss. That's it. You fight the boss. Sometimes there's 2 bosses. I don't know what they have in store for the future, but basically, right now, you can jump in and it's a boss rush game. You fight monsters. Dauntless is actually pretty interesting, I think, with the end game because it has a lot of very magical type of monsters, which is something that's missing in some competitors. It's very, almost kind of MMO raid-ish in some ways. I definitely get that vibe myself. So if you're looking for something a little bit more magically and cartoony, kind of Monster Hunter-y, well, yeah, this adventure action RPG might be the one for you, and it's playable right now. Next up on the list, I'm going to slap down Code Vein. Now, this is a game I'm excited for because I like Souls-like games, but like I said before, Sekiro Shadows Die Twice isn't making the list because that's not an RPG. However, Code Vein is promising growth options with our character. There's supposed to be customization. A lot of sites say deep, and there's supposed to be like, you know, different branching paths. I don't know. We'll see when the game comes out how RPG it is, but I'm going to assume that it's going to seat itself somewhere below Bloodborne in terms of overall depth and complexity. And it's really going to focus more on that anime action adventure, which I think is pretty great. I think a lot of people really want to jump into a game that is a little bit more storied, a little bit more linear when it comes to, you know, the Soulsian formula is a little bit vague for some people. So the poetry can be lost on many. Code Vein just like, hey, anime, Souls-like gameplay, vampiric type of gameplay mechanics. Sure, let's jump in and let's hack and slash. Sounds pretty good, but it's still, you know, got that taste of RPG, got that taste of Souls. And I think as long as you like anime action, you're going to have your fill. All right, moving through. Not a problem. Fallout 76. Now, this game has RPG roots. We don't know the full scope of the gameplay, as many of these games, and we don't know where it's going to go in the future because this is going to be built more as a service. But it's a Fallout game that's supposed to be a survival type of game as well. I don't know if you would consider Ark or Rust or many of those proper action RPGs or not, but Fallout 76, I feel, is the one out of all this genre of survival server games that could be defined as an action RPG. I know it's going to be cooperative and competitive, and there's not going to be like normal questing. It's not a normal Fallout game by any means. I understand that. But if there's any potential for this to branch into that genre or do more in terms of RPG mechanics than other games, though Ark definitely does pretty well, and there's Dark and Light and things like that, Fallout 76 is definitely my vote. So hopefully, guys, allow me to Hail Mary this onto the list. And I think a lot of you guys are hyped for it. A lot of us are skeptical. You know, it's like, okay, it's not a normal Fallout game. Where's it going to go? I don't know, but it's going to go somewhere. I'm keeping my eyeballs on it. I think you guys should too. All right, guys, next up, we got Greedfall. Now, this game looks pretty interesting. It's pretty weird, and I would honestly put it way freaking higher if it wasn't for the kind of the gimmick that I'm also why I'm excited for it. So Greedfall is an action RPG to an extent. It is possibly to played in action form. Now there's a couple other action adventure games that also have like tactical options. Like things like Fallout and Skyrim can also be played slower and even use pause screens like as part of their mechanics. But Greedfall, it allows you to play a little bit slower. You can still have a giant greatsword and, you know, smack people around. Sure, you're going to be jumping in and running a gun and kind of in a way, but Greedfall also allows you to be political, and it really does focus on more of those core RPG mechanics, and it promotes itself not as an action RPG, but as a proper RPG. So you can definitely feel that, I mean, already in just a little bit of gameplay that we've seen, it's oozing in the very cinematic and story-based trailers, and I think that's why I have to put it a little bit lower on the list, because it's not so focused on just the action, but it can be played as an action game with adventure, and absolutely, it just happens to focus really heavily on those RPG mechanics. So tell me what you guys think about that in the comments below. Do you like the setting, which is like this colonial kind of low mid fantasy kind of thing going on? I definitely, you know, from the trailers, I guess you could say I've fallen for Greedfall. All right, next up, 5, halfway on the list here, I'm gonna slap down The Division 2. Now, the original Division, honestly, I straight up passed. I didn't really care for what was gonna obviously be the gameplay loop that it had. I didn't like the faux MMO terminology that they used. Like, there's no moment where it's actually massive number of players. It's no Firefall, right? It's no Planetside 2. It just had all this weird marketing stuff that just made it seem to me like, okay, this is just really a shell of a game. The Division 2, though, might take the foundation of the cool ideas that the Division had and was just lightly touched on, and then actually get some meat and taters into that. Actually, like, build on that skeleton, and it might be a little bit more beefy, so maybe more content, hopefully, or they're just going to churn out, you know, another annual kind of thing or biannual series, and the Division 3 will come out. I don't know. But the Division 2 is still kind of exciting because the end scenario for the original Division was kind of exciting. You know, it was a little bit of a better game. It started to kind of show a little bit more polish, and it started to kind of have, you know, it's more core, you know, community starting to cycle in and play the game daily, and, you know, they kind of started to enjoy the grind just a little bit. So maybe the Division 2 can give us more gameplay loops, more of the stuff that we do want to regrind and replay, and maybe give us a little bit bigger taste of that, you know, massively multiplayer action. More players, more the merrier for online action RPGs, I think is definitely the way to go, especially one with this sort of aesthetic, with this sort of, you know, shooting mechanics, run and gun. I want to be running and gunning with a lot of different buddies, a lot of different people, and, you know, having fun. And especially a little bit more focus, I think, on PvP would be a nice touch too. You know, just my personal bias. What do you guys think about the Division 2? What could it do better than the Division 1? Are you excited? Have you lost all hope? Let me know. Big Bad 4. We're going to talk about Anthem. Now, Anthem, I want to put higher, but the thing is that we already have Warframe, which is a great online action RPG. I have fun with it, and this is really part of the new kind of blooming genre that, I guess, Borderlands kind of started, which is the looter shooter, which the Division 2 is also a looter shooter. But, like, we're getting a lot of them, and we had Destiny, and, like, every single one past Borderlands and Warframe has been dubious, and even Warframe has had some shady things happening with it and its monetization and its release schedule, but mainly the AAA games, you know, buying a box copy and then, you know, having to buy DLC or whatever. But Anthem is promising that all content updates are going to be free, that they're really going to focus on that game as a service, and it really, I think, seemingly, even though it looks very similar to Destiny in a lot of different ways and a couple other games, I think that it has kind of a nice twist that I'm personally excited for, and I think that it can learn from the mistakes of The Division and Destiny, and maybe even, you know, take inspiration from Warframe, obviously, and do something really good and really different and really special. Or it could fall for all the same traps and be horrible, so, you know, that's why it's not higher. I'm excited, I'm keeping the hype alive, but I'm keeping my skeptical spectacles on, okay? I'm watching you, Anthem. And for good reasons and bad reasons, I think you guys should too. Number 3, I'm going to slap down Kingdom Hearts 3. The original Kingdom Hearts was actually this really interesting idea where they wanted to make an RPG, but kind of like platformy, and I don't know, they mixed up with like the Final Fantasy characters, and they mixed up with the Disney characters and cartoon stuff, and wow, now we have Kingdom Hearts 3 with stuff where we have like Big Hero 6 jumping in, Frozen, and all that cool stuff, but also continuing the esoteric and strange poetic story of the original, and then like the million other games that came through. Spoiler alert, actually, for me personally, I haven't actually played them. So no spoils. I don't know the story whatsoever. If you even played the game, do you know the stories? I don't know where to start myself, but I know that I'm actually going to be jumping in with Kingdom Hearts 3 on my PS4. I'm really excited. The gameplay, just purely the gameplay, looks astounding to me, and I'm somebody who's really getting back into a lot of cartoon and cartoon culture, and of course Final Fantasy's in my blood, right? I'm a 90s gamer. Kingdom Hearts is something that I should have been playing, I should have jumped into, and I absolutely eventually will too, but I'm just saying, in terms of action adventure with RPG roots, Kingdom Hearts 3 is something that has captivated people for a long time, and I know they've kind of changed, mixed and matched, action components and RPG mechanics here and there. I'm hoping Kingdom Hearts 3 really does properly fit on this list. Let me ask you guys, are you still hyped for this game? Is it still really exciting? Because I'm excited, but then again, I haven't been on the ride, for all those different games. I don't know where the story's taking us. Let me know. What's the roller coaster? Are we on a up? Are we on a down? Or is the ride over? All right, number 2 is a game that I'm purposefully going in very naively into, and that's going to be Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord. Now, it's taken a little bit to make this game, but according to the original players' reviews, it seems like this is the kind of game that you really just lose your life to. And it's actually really exciting how Mount & Blade originally spawned off so many different mods and add-ons, and how I don't know, captivating the stories are from that game. But also we've got the developers playing those kind of games and playing Mount & Blade, making different games in the same genre. So we have Kingdom Come Deliverance, which is that sort of medieval, battle simulator, and there's online games like Conqueror's Blade 2, which are really trying to emulate the online portions of some of those components of Mount & Blade. So it's really cool to see Mount & Blade 2 Bannerlord coming out, finally officially, hopefully gonna reclaim the throne, because it's been a while since the original Mount & Blade, which I do own. I just haven't touched, because I know you lose your life to it. I'm gonna jump into it though before this game launches, and I probably will stream it here on YouTube. But all I know in terms of the RPG mechanics is that there's going to be deep unit customization, and there is a campaign that you kind of run yourself. I mean, you're kind of running your own, you are a Bannerlord, you are running your army, and you are campaigning yourself through this game. And hopefully the story is, I want to be entrenched, into the sadness and the reality of this world and of war. I think that'd be really cool in a medieval setting, but also absolutely you're running around throwing spears and slicing off people's heads with giant swords. I think that's pretty cool too. Action adventure RPG. I think it fits the bill. And now our final entry, our number 1, is probably the one that we know the least about. And normally I wouldn't put it so high up because, it's brand new. But then again, you guys are looking for new games. So here's a brand freaking new game called Project Awakening. Now, why is this my number 1? Why am I the most hyped about this? Well, you might be able to see from the list, I kind of like monsters. Dauntless, Code Vein on the list here. And I like games that try to kind of branch out from the usual formula. And Project Awakening looks freaking gorgeous. To me, it looks like a Souls-inspired game. It looks also Monster Hunter-inspired, and it looks like it's gonna be a blast, okay? I don't know what the full mechanics are gonna entail with most of these games. I don't know how adventurous it's gonna be. I don't know if the story is gonna be great. I don't even know if it's gonna be even a proper RPG. But what I know is that it's selling itself as an action RPG, and there's giant freaking monsters. So as long as there's just a little bit of customization with my character, just like a mini paper doll or something here and there, some ways that I can mix and match, and hopefully there's a little bit of a campaign of some kind, I'm really good. Now, then again, I put Dauntless on here, which has 0 story or anything, so whatever. As long as I get to fight giant monsters, guys, that's kind of my fetish, right? So I'm putting it at number 1. Other than that, I don't know much. It's going to be on PlayStation. It is going to be exclusive. It's going to look sexy, and it's going to be you in a medieval, potentially mid-high fantasy setting, fighting some fantastic monsters. So if that sounds game to you, if that sounds like an adventure, then I think that this action RPG is going to be the one to jump into. But guys, that's pretty much going to be it for the list there. Hopefully you did find something brand new that you haven't heard about. If you did, hey, please give me a thumbs up. Let me know. That's what the whole point of the video is. It's also just to kind of get hyped and talk to you guys about these games. Which ones are you looking forward to? Which ones should I cover on the channel, stream actually and play? And which ones are you going to be buying yourself? And if there's any other game that I missed, leave it in the comments below. Let us know, guys. It's a community effort here. We're just all here coming together, friends and family, talking about some cool games. Yeah, so these were the cool new adventure action RPG that I picked. And if you want more action RPG lists, I'm definitely going to be doing more reviews on Path of Exile, Diablo, stuff like that in upcoming. I guess we have, what is that, Torchlight Frontiers thing doing to do? Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to be doing that on stream. So yeah, look forward to that. Isometric action RPGs, looter shooter top 10s, etc.